Hey kids, I figured because we're in our mystery unit, I'd read you a creepy story. Buckle in because it's not going to be a fun time. This one's called Roadside Diner. A couple of years ago, a few of us were heading back from a week's camping in the mountains. We'd had a great time, lots of hiking, swimming, climbing, and general unwinding. Late in the evening of our last day at the campground, we all piled into the van and headed for home. Driving at night wasn't a concern for us. We were all familiar with the route. We were a good 80 kilometers into the trip when Gina, who was riding shotgun, noticed a strange light up ahead. We all stared at the glow, but no one could figure out what it could be. Maybe it's a UFO? Greg teased. Except it's not flying, countered his brother, Joe, who was driving. Ashley, ever the sensible one, suggested we just keep driving till we were closer to the light and could figure out what it was. A few minutes later, we could plainly see that the glow Gina had first spotted was a brightly lit neon sign welcoming hungry travelers to a roadside diner. I was puzzled. That place must be new, I said. I've never seen it before. Maybe new, but totally retro, Greg noted. Let's stop for a burger. I'm up for that, Joe said as he steered the van into the parking lot. Look at what a cool job they've done in this place, Ashley exclaimed. Could be right out of that old TV show Happy Days, Gina agreed, staring up at the sign that read Red Grill and Diner. Once we were inside, we saw that the attention to detail was even more impressive. Someone had gone to a great deal of trouble to recreate an absolutely accurate mid-1950s look. The floor was a checkerboard of black and white tiles. Half a dozen red vinyl stools stood in front of a well-polished counter. On one side were booths upholstered in the same red vinyl, each one with room enough for all of us. We chose a booth by the window, looking out at the headlights and taillights of our fellow night travelers zipping past on the highway. We were the only customers. What does everyone want? Ashley asked. Well, we're here in a good old-fashioned diner, so I think we might have good old-fashioned diner food, I suggested. A few minutes later, the door behind the counter swung open, and a middle-aged woman came out. We all nearly gasped. She was done up as perfectly as the restaurant was. She was wearing a replica of an old-style waitress's uniform, including a white apron fringed with a bit of a frill and a perky little headband hat to match. Her plastic name tag read Vera. What can I get for you? Vera asked, shifting a wad of chewing gum in her mouth and licking the business end of her pencil before pressing it against the order pad she held in her other hand. There was no doubt about it. She had her role nailed. I'll have fries with gravy, I said, relishing the fact that I hadn't uttered those words for a decade or more. Double cheeseburger for me, Joe requested. Make that 2, his brother added. Cherry Coke for me, Gina said. Apple pie a la mode, Ashley said. A few minutes later, Vera arrived back at our table, skillfully juggling our orders. There you go, she said as she unceremoniously set the plates and glasses down in front of us. The taste of the food more than made up for what it lacked in presentation. We all nibbled from one another's plates and agreed everything was delicious. We lingered a bit after eating, I suppose just not wanting this unique experience to end. Finally, Joe stood up. We've got to get on the road again, he said. This one's on me, I offered. I'll go get Vera's attention so she can make up the bill. The waitress was leaning against the counter, reading a movie star magazine. You heading out? She asked when she saw me walking toward her. I nodded. How much do we owe you? Let's see. That was 2 double cheeseburgers, a cherry Coke, fries with gravy, and an apple pie a la mode, right? I nodded. Comes to $5.55, Vera said, handing me a copy of the bill. That can't be. But it is. I know the prices are up these days, but you should have checked the menu before you ordered. I looked at the tally. My chips and gravy cost 60 cents. Double cheeseburgers were $1.75 each. The apple pie was $1.25, and the cherry Coke 20 cents, for a total of $5.55. I handed Vera a $10 bill and walked back to the van with the others. Must have been some kind of special deal on there tonight, I told them. That was a cheap round. We should stop there more often, Gina suggested as we drove back onto the highway. The next week, I was telling some of my friends at work about this crazy old-fashioned diner we found just off the highway. One of the fellows who had lived around there all his life looked surprised. Have you been there? I asked him. No, I haven't, but the place you're describing sounds an awful lot like a diner where my grandparents first met. Darn shame what happened there. What do you mean, what happened? Place burned to the ground. Everyone made it out safely, except the waitress. My folks always said Vera gave her life for that place. And I guess in fact she did. Vera? Yeah, she worked there. Was real devoted to the place. You know, you've got me thinking. I'm pretty sure that fire happened almost exactly 60 years ago. It was around the end of August anyway. I remember that part for sure.